Okay, so I am Mike Prendergast of the Historical Combat Academy in Ireland, in Dublin. I'm very pleased to be here. I'd like to extend my thanks to the local group and Christoph for inviting me to teach at this Forgotten Masters event. It's a fantastic idea to just delve into other sources and see how it can inform our fencing and our appreciation of just the wider realms of historical fencing. So this is temperantia. Temperantia is a sword I had custom made to match what Pietro Monte tells us about his weapon by Chris Adams of Balefire Blades, who I really recommend as a maker. Monte tells us the sword should come to the nose or eyes of its maker. You can see this is a little short, but I make do. It has wide quillions, better to protect the arm. He likes a long handle with a small pommel. It's better for counterweight. The weapon should be light and maneuverable. It's more about speed and control than mass. So this is like about 2.5 kilos, which is the shorter, lighter end of two-handed swords. So I'm here to give a workshop on the two-handed sword. The two-handed sword is a short weapon. Monte starts by teaching lots of long weapons, but before I talk about what he teaches, let me say a little about the man himself. So Pietro Monte was born, we think, in the 1480s. He was a son of a Tuscan knight, I think a marquis, as far as we can tell. There's a French biography of him, which has delved into a lot of the details. So in his early 20s, he was already commanding 200 troops in a northern Italian war. So he was born into a culture of sort of professional soldiery, mercenaries, or professional contracted soldiers. So that was when he was in 20s. Sometimes I think in his 30s or 40s, he was present probably at the Reconquista in Spain. We have him in Spain in 1492, so it seems unlikely he wasn't in Granada, because that's where professional soldiers went. From 1492 to 1494-95, he was training the cavalry of the Duke of Milan on the Sforzas. And he was, at that time, from comments in his book, we understand that's when he wrote his sort of masterwork on fighting, the Collectanea. So it's a collection of military arts and exercises. The Collectanea is decades of professional experience of a successful soldier. Monte was called by a later biographer the premier infantryman from Italy. Castiglione, in the Book of the Courtier, calls him the supreme and perfect master of every form of trained strength and agility. So he's a professional trainer, and he's immensely famous in the day. Leonardo da Vinci mentions him in one of his notebooks, talk to Master Monte about the flight of javelins, for instance. So his book is much more than fighting. It's a treatise on military arts and exercise. So it includes training, running, jumping. It includes psychology, the four temperaments from ancient Greek medicine, and how to kind of personality type your troops and your opponents by their character, and how to fight against different troops in different ways, who to put in the first rank of combat, who to bring into combat later. So there's way more to the book. So what we're doing today is just scratching the surface, and it's just the part about essentially Monte's two-handed sword and what we need to understand and learn some of that. So Monte died he served in northern Italy for many different masters. In 1509, he was in co-command of the Venetian rearguard when they were fighting the French. And at the Battle of Agnadello, the entire French army showed up and met just the rearguard of the Venetian army. So they fought a long, hard battle across canals in an afternoon, till I think finally the French heavy cavalry broke their lines and Monte went down fighting. It is said by another biographer that Monte's death was very beautiful, that he was standing there, his armor covered in blood, swinging left and right and knocking down his opponents as the great wind knocks down the vegetation in a storm. So, and actually, as you're going to see, that's not an unlikely description for how Monte's fighting works. So he has great fluid and continual motions with the sword. And that's important with the big sword, because it's not a sword you can start and stop. You have to kind of continue your actions. So I think that's probably based on a first-hand view of what happened. So my goal for today is that you're going to get some of that energy and you're going to flail down your opponents like a storm. Okay? Right. Of course, we're going to start with some footwork. So I'm going to put the sword. Oh, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question about the way you say everything is flowing. Is it more tiring by just start and stop like Lichtenauer, or is it a different kind
It's not functional. If I throw a blow here with the mass of a heavier sword, it's just slower to recover it. This is my personal theory on how sword length affects fighting, but I used to fight from Fiore, and Fiore has a lot of low guards with reasonably short sword where you can kind of like come up and do actions. With the longer sword, that takes more time. Monte's guards all start high. Where I feel we're loading, the weight of the sword is giving energy at the beginning, and then we can move through. There are occasions Monte starts low, which we'll look at, but fundamentally, we start high, we conduct the sword in a circle, so we can keep momentum. I think just a lighter sword, it's easier to start and stop. I think that gives a flow. I recommend training at times with heavier swords because they teach you better body mechanics. With a light sword, you can kind of cheat. You can kind of jerk a sword back and forth, especially if you're using a feather shirt, which have the mass is more back in the hilt than in a actual like historical longsword. So you can get away with starting and stopping or redirecting in a more easy way. Monte will redirect a single-handed sword more easily. Yo.
Another question. I know if you're swinging this sword, it's very, very difficult to reach you. But once you hit a target with your sword, is it not? Don't you need much time to swing again?
You're talking about like this, so like when you hit someone.
A focal point to attack you when you hit your target.
Yeah. So it depends on if my target's wearing armor or not. If they're wearing armor, I can hit them and probably not kill them. If you hit somebody with a big two-handed sword in any significant way, I don't think I'm worried about an afterblow immediately. They may not have an arm. So I've done a limited amount of sparring with two-handed swords. It's something you have to trust your partner with. So I can only offer speculation on that topic. But I do know like a lot of the Iberian sources have one fighter against multiple opponents. And I've done some work at the International Montanti Symposium, which was held in Germany the year before last, where we had one Montantero. We used foam swords so as not to kill people, and 4 fighters with single swords. And you could just cleave your way through the air, and if you hit somebody, you could keep recovering. So I think the point is, even if you hit somebody, you can draw the sword. If you hit somebody on the limb, you're probably not stopped, so you're probably keeping going. So I think a lot of it is like you strike and you draw, and we're going to see this. This is a nice question, because we're going to see this when we parry, when we do rising blows, and someone parries us from above, you can't push through that. So we draw the sword, and we return the sword. So a lot of it is, I think, when you make contact, if you withdraw as you cut, it frees you to do a next motion. Does that make sense? Cool. Am I talking too fast? Okay, tell me if it could. Okay, so as I said, this is the basis for all swords. So what we learned today is also the foundation of Monte's like shorter longsword, but also single sword, and sword with buckler or pelta. So this is how you use sword according to Monte. Okay. So wrestling is the foundation of the art. And in wrestling, we learn to move fast, we learn to be in balance, and we learn to regain our balance. So Monte gives us 3 principles for footwork. The first is to basically make small steps. Okay? So we make small steps, and we're upright. Monte says you should maintain yourself above yourself. In the Historical Combat Academy, we like to say, get over yourself. So if you get over yourself, you'll be in good balance, and you'll be able to move. So we stay with our feet reasonably close together in upright, almost like we're sitting on a chair, and the chair has legs. The chair has wheels, but we're just sitting on the chair. So our upper body is in balance. So we take small steps. Then if someone attacks us, we can leap past. If we go to attack, we can leap in, but we try and regain our posture. So we make these motions with the sword as well, but we don't stay here. We come back, we go forward. So we want to keep this balance. So we're upright, small steps, and also just a little bit of bend in the knees just to have lightness. The third principle is lightness. So we don't want to hear ourselves moving around. We want to move quietly. Okay? So to practice that, we're going to do what I call aggressive dancing. Would you help me out, please? What's your name? Say? Ludwig, yes. Thank you, Ludwig. Okay, so Ludwig, if you go here so people can see. So we're going to start by an exercise that comes from wrestling. There's a wrestling position called equally divided arms. And if you'll help me out, Ludwig, if you'll put an arm on this one here, and I'm here. So we're equal, right? So this is a common position you just get into when you're wrestling anyway. It also is a formal way to start wrestling matches at the time. So we're not actually wrestling but we're going to learn from wrestling. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back. Ludwig is going to lead, and I'm going to keep the balance. And what I'm doing is we're starting in good posture. Ludwig's going to go back and forth. And what's your name?
Guillaume.
Guillaume, can you just call halt after 10 or 15 seconds? Okay. So Ludwig's going back and forth. Guillaume's going to call halt, and we're going to check is our footwork good. Make sense? Go. Okay. Go. Aha, sneaky. Okay, so how do we feel? It's not just how it looks, how do we test? So now Ludwig's going to push me over, or not. Nope. Right? So that's the test. Okay, first, does it look right? But the proof of the pudding is in the movement. So the game is, we do this motion, someone calls halt, and then without moving your feet, because you're stuck with where the halt occurs, and there's no readjusting after the halt, we just try and push. Ah, you moved. So no moving the feet. Right. Just, see, and if someone moves the feet, you've won, right? Yeah. So you just push, let's go back. Push me.
Just stand in the back posture.
Okay, and now just try and destabilize me. Okay, so it's like, so it's about keeping your balance, keeping your stability. Awesome, thank you. Right, so that's what we're aiming to do. It's easy to be in good posture when I'm posing. But when we're moving back and forth, and even in this very slightly less controlled condition, can we keep our posture? This is the foundation of all fighting according to Monte. Keeping in balance, keeping structure, keeping strength. Okay, thank you, Ludwig. Merci, Guillaume. So for this exercise, it's good to pick someone, find someone who's roughly your similar height or body mass, okay? If you have a partner, just wave. We're going to go back and forth this way on the hall. So one person facing that wall, one person facing the window. Let's form pairs around the middle. So find a partner, form pairs. Okay, we have partners. Okay, listen up. So people on this side, on the side of the wall, are going to lead. You're only going to go back and forth to begin with. We'll move around circles later. So person on my side is leading. Person on that side is keeping pace. I'm going to shout halt. You have to freeze when I shout halt. You can't readjust, okay? Then I'm going to say test, and you're going to push to see if anyone has to move their legs. If you move your feet, the other person's won. Understand? Okay, ready? Start. Halt! Test! Cool. Okay, pause. Right? So something may have happened. You may have found that one person got destabilized. You may find neither person got destabilized. That's probably good. Okay? So you understand the exercise. We're going to do it again, but we're going to swap who's leading. Okay? So the person who was following is now leading. Same exercise. So just find your partner. Go. Halt. Test. And good. Okay, pause. I said there was a very successful test there. Okay, so now we're going to take more space because the next level is going to be going around in circles, which I call aggressive ballroom dancing. So just find this, keep your partner, find a spot that's sort of more spread around.
So we go any direction?
Yeah. Okay, so listen up. Here's how it works. Whoever's leading can go back or forward or sideways. If I lead to the right, you follow to your right. If your partner goes left, you go left. You keep the center.
There's always one leading?
Yes, always one leading. Oh, and this is not a wrestling drill. I know some people are really keen, but don't be pushing people over during the leading part. It's just to practice keeping your balance. When I say test, you test, not before. Okay? So that, say again? You keep the same grip. Yeah, same grip. You just keep the same grip. So whoever was leading last time is now following. Whoever's following is leading. And ready? Oh, and all the way around. Go. Want to try this out?
I would like, but I have a problem here.
Oh, okay.
So,
Sorry to hear.
yeah,
Yeah.
since November I didn't take.
Oh,
any
no.
weapons, so-
Oh, that's painful. Okay, is it getting better?
Yes, it's getting better. The fact
Pause! Test. It's not changing the grip. It's not changing the grip. It's just from that grip can you push somebody. Pause. Okay, good work. Okay, we're going to do this one last time. We're going to swap who's leading. So it's ballroom dancing, but different lead. So to be clear, we're not changing grips. We're not getting close. We're not lifting anybody. We're just keeping that grip, equally divided arms. Okay? So last exercise on this run. Ready? Go. Stop. Test. Good. Cool. Okay. Okay, you're good. If you lasted that long, you're good. Okay, gather in. Okay, so we take this from wrestling. So in the Historical Combat Academy, I actually started working on Monte in 2013. I'd read about Pietro Monte in a book called Martial Arts of Renaissance Europe by Professor Sidney Anglo, which came out in 2001. And then I waited forever for someone to translate him because he talked about Monte, and Monte sounds really interesting, but there's no translation. So finally, I got fed up waiting, and I got in touch with a friend of a friend, Ingrid Sperber, Ingrid is a professional Latinist. Her PhD is in Latin. She works on like medieval Latin manuscripts. So that made it possible for me, who speaks no Latin at that time, to embark on a translation project. So we spent about a year. She would translate sections. We'd Skype on Monday night for an hour. I would be subject matter expert, try and make sense of it. Twice with the right hand, once with the left hand. What does that mean? It means 2 right-hand cuts, 1 left-hand cut. So we put it together, and then we worked with the Historical Combat Academy in Dublin, which is kind of a hipster group. We just didn't tell a lot of people what we're doing because we're trying to figure out Monte. So we worked on that for some years. So what I have is kind of a distillation of what we think Monte means, and we're taking pieces from different sections of it. Honestly, badly organized book, but with a lot of gold in it. So we took this from the wrestling, because wrestling is the base, and we actually started working on Monte's wrestling first, and then we moved to the two-handed sword and the poleaxe. So Monte's weapons in order are wrestling, then poleaxe, then two-handed sword. And that covers everything. All the staff weapons, spear included, are based on poleaxe. Monte's poleaxe is as high as you can reach, but it's better if it's a little more. So they're really long weapons. The sword is a short weapon, as we mentioned, and that includes warhammers you would use on horseback. Only source I know that has warhammers, by the way, it's amazing. Single sword, daggers, and sort of mucros, estocs, which he mentions. But he really has the core of his short weapon fighting in the sword, and I'm aiming to give you the essence I've distilled out of that today. So now we get to move to the sword. So one difference between the full two-hander and the long sword that's kind of safer for tournament sparring is the motions. As I'm going to show you the motions of the big two-hander, they tend to be large, funnily enough. So it's big motions. You'll be happy to know that Monte doesn't recommend horizontal blows because they leave you open. So I'm going to be cutting up and down, not so much side to side. Public safety feature. With the longsword, it's a lot tighter. So we do the same actions, but we do them with more speed and a tighter fulcrum. So when I'm demonstrating large, you'll see them large, and you should probably practice them large to begin with. But when you're, if you're doing it like you're going to fight, it's going to be sharper, it's going to be tighter. Okay, so 3 principles for using the sword. Let's start with the grip on the sword. These swords have no shield, no rings. This is good in many ways because at least no ring means we can do very close maneuvers with the sword. It's very unimpeding how we can rotate the sword. But it doesn't protect the hands and the side of the hands as well. What protects us is the crossguard. So a lot of times Monte's going to have the crossguard horizontal, or he's going to attack and have the crossguard at an angle to trap an opponent's sword. Because we use the crossguard so much, we keep our hand but the width of your thumb or more away from the crossguard. If it's right up here, that knuckle is not going to be happy with you. So aim to keep this much spread. Now, if you have something with a shield like my Siggy, that's cheating, so your hand is safe. But if you have something with a simple crossguard, safer to do this. Okay? We use the hand on the other side is widely spaced for grip, so having it right on the pommel. I like round pommels. There's a very historically designed pommel from northern Italy that gives us that control. You see that Filippo Vadi wants you to have a rounded pommel for gripping as well. So we're making use of a wide grip. This is very different from Lichtenauer idea of putting your hands together and swinging the sword as described in the first Lichtenauer source. So this is like wider grip. So with the sword, we are going to pay attention to 3 things. One, our arms are going to remain straight, extended. Arms are extended. So when we throw a cut, like a cut from prima, we're cutting with straight arms. Okay? I feel Jay's done a lot of work for me in this workshop because a lot of the principles he enunciated yesterday in his staff class totally apply. So basically moving with straight arms. Okay, at some point, we're going to bend an elbow a little when we return the sword, but it's straight arm. Second, extended arm. Second is we extend the body. So we throw the blow, we follow with the body. That's probably obvious, but it's fundamental, so I'm saying that. Okay? The third is that the sword is to be conducted in a circle. That's a quote from what Monte says. So if I throw a blow from prima, it comes back. It doesn't stay out here. Okay? If I throw a rising blow, confusingly, Monte has terminology for swords. For blows, he calls a rising blow a montante. Okay? Later, Iberian swords are called montantes. I've talked to Tonpuri about this. He has a theory that maybe montantes, rising blows, were kind of a key characteristic of the two-handed sword, and the name became associated with the sword. I don't know. Montante just means rising up. But if I throw a blow, I'm keeping it going in circles. Okay? Those 3 things. Extend the arm straight, extend the body, and conduct in a circle. Those are fundamental ideas for using the sword. To do that, we're just going to do a fundamental play from Monte. Monte is very unique in that he actually tells us the first blows that we learn and which we teach. A lot of sources, we got the book. We go, but there must have been something they learned before they started the plays in the book. It's hard to know where you began. Monte tells us what he teaches first. So he teaches a series of blows called the levata of the sword. I'm not going to do the levata of the sword in total in this workshop because that would be at least 2/3 of the workshop. I'm going to try and give you more principles, but use some of the levata to illustrate those. But the first blow looks like this. Oh, this is Monte's first guard. He calls it first guard. Can you remember that? Okay. Prima, if you like Latin. So this is a right-handed version, obviously. People who take this guard hold the sword high on the right. Okay. So it's high on the right. It's not in the middle, it's on the right. Obviously, lefty prima looks like this. You notice my sword foot is back. Monte doesn't tell us directly, but it emerges from his plays. Like, as you might have with the Fiori Posta di Donna, we're chambered in our position. So this is prima. So from prima, I'm going to do a rising blow. And to a rising blow, you'll be doing this in a moment, but I'll demo it now. We can't let the sword drop behind us. So I'm actually twisting the sword to start aligning that forward edge backwards, because I'm going to rise up with a montante. And then I'm going to keep that going like the hands on the clock. It's going to turn around and come this way with a reverso montante. So the first blow of the levata is a montante, reverso montante. And then I'm coming back into guard, into prima. And when I'm back in guard, my feet are connected again in stability, as we did in the first exercise. Okay? So this also respects the mass of the sword and the momentum of the sword. You have to feel where the sword wants to go. We guide the sword. In fact, Monte has a later blow that's literally called the guide, guida in Italian, guia in Spanish, that is basically, it's called a guide. I suspect it's because it's a blow where you have to kind of guide the sword where it wants to go. You can't force it. Sadly, Monte hasn't explained why he calls it that, but it helps me remember. So the first blow will be a rising blow from your dominant side. We're going to do this short. We're going to do this short because Monte likes to provoke a response. And then we're going to do it long with a rising blow that we extend and we cut through. We're not going to stay here in pose. We're going to cut through. It's going to come back into prima up here. So let's grab swords and give that a go. Okay, so to make use of our space, we're going to form 2 rows facing each other across the hallway. And then we're going to see how much space we have. So as you do these motions, think of it elegance and grace. This is an Italian system, so looking good is part of the action. Okay, so let's start with prima. So prima, we set our sword foot back in good balance. We basically extend our arm up. We do not put it forward, it's up. Keep your shoulders low and back. Left hand is on the pommel, sword is straight up. Now it's important that it's straight up. If we kind of have it like this, we're going to waste energy and time and give a tell to our opponent by lifting it. So we need to keep it has to be ready to come down. So a test for is your prima well set is, does it feel like I can just go forwards from prima? If I have to prepare it to go forwards, it's not in prima. Okay? So we're going to do Monte's characteristic attacks, which are rising blows. So for a rising blow, I'll demonstrate this from a few angles. Let it turn. Oh, and you're also going to hold, at times you're going to be holding the sword just with your thumb and forefinger. I know this is rude in some countries, I apologize. I think it's okay. So we hold the sword at times when we're doing these motions. Like you can see the fingers of my hand are really disengaged from the sword except for the thumb and forefinger. So I'm allowing the sword to move. If I grip it tightly, I'm going to end up bending myself around the sword. I want to move the sword around me. Okay, so I need this looseness of grip. So we just want to work on left and then right. Do that forwards a couple of steps, and then do it backwards. Sword first, then the motion. Sword, motion, sword, motion. So advance a couple of steps withdraw a couple of steps. Feel, work on getting it fluid. Okay, now one thing I'd like you to pay attention to is a lot of us have worked in systems where a rising cut terminates in an extended fenestra or aux. That's not a bad idea at times, but at the beginning we're practicing returning to guard. So the idea is that we throw a blow, we throw a second blow, cut through, and we're back. Okay? So I want you to work on that idea that we can return to a guard at the culmination of the action. Okay, pause again. I got one other thing. Now that we've got the flow, I want to add a few details. One is that Monte wants us to keep our hands extended in front of us. So when I'm doing this, my hands are not withdrawing. If you've studied montante systems, sometimes they'll cut here, and they'll bring it back here, and they'll bring it forward. And that's great if you're fighting people behind and in front of you or around you. Monte's art is focused on one-on-one combat. Even if it's in a military situation, you have your troop mates on the side, you're still facing forward. So we want to cut here. My hands stay in front. My hands stay in front. And they stay high. Okay, imagine there's like a ball connecting your hands. And you're moving your hands around the surface of that ball as you move the sword. Okay? Think about that as you work. Aha, yeah. Yes, it's in front, it's extended, it's threatening. That's excellent. Super. Great. That's what I want to say about the principles of moving the sword. Okay? So we want to have this fluidity, we want to have this freedom of motion, we want to have continuous motion. Monte wants us to attack and keep moving and keep threatening our opponent. He says it is dangerous to stand and wait for an attack to come to us because our opponent can provoke us and make something happen. Monte generally, when we're going to talk about how to close with an opponent later in this session, and when you close with an opponent, Monte wants us to throw a provoking attack, throw a real attack, throw a clearing defense. So there's a whole entrance, attack, safety. And sometimes there's a further attack as they follow us. But it's very much about putting them off balance, creating a weakness in their structure, their position, then striking. Good. Right, so that is moving the sword. See, is there anything I need to say beyond that? So what we're going to look at now is we're going to look at the guida. So we're going to do one other blow. The guida is the guide that I mentioned earlier. And the guide is a way of converting a rising blow, which we've been doing, into a different attack. And it's easier to demonstrate that with a partner. Anyone care to throw on a mask? Thank you, Michael. I'll match you with something more appropriate. So let's go to the middle so people can see a little better. Okay. So we're going to talk a little about how we parry and how we attack. Just to demonstrate the parry, so if Michael throws a rising blow to me, first of all, make sure the range is good. Okay, excellent. And do it again. I want to parry by stepping back and coming down in a controlling position from which I can hopefully keep the control. Or at least threaten, so I'm playing white on chess now. Michael has to respond to me. Okay? So that's the concept of how we parry. We're going to do those parries in a moment, but I want to show you another way Monte has of attacking. So if you can stand in prima, I want you to step back and just cut down on my sword. If you've done a Zornhau, I think this feels like the same thing to me. So I'm going to do a rising blow. Michael has control of my sword, and then he can provoke, he can come in and keep that control as he attacks. Okay, that's the basic concept of our defense. We step back to be safe. Okay, so the question is, what can Monte do against this? So I'm going to show you the second blow, which is called the guida. So let's do that again. This is a guida. It's designed to look like a standard montante or rising blow, but it changes on the way. Let's do it from the other side. So once more, Michael goes to parry, but he doesn't. His sword goes into my sword. If he keeps going forwards, I'm going to catch it here. I will be vulnerable if I pose here, but I can clear on the way out. So what the guida is, I'm doing a montante, and I'm pulling the pommel under my arm. So I'm just slinging the sword around. Again, I'm guiding the sword. I cannot force the sword to do this. I'll do this from distance. You have to use the momentum in the weapon. Okay? So let's do it once more slowly. I'm throwing the blow, but it comes up here. So it's designed to draw. If I throw that blow and Michael throws that counter again, if I throw a montante, he has the perfect counter. If I throw a guida, he has the wrong counter. I have to commit to a montante, but change it to a guida. Does that make sense? This also shows why you want to step back when parrying. If you step back when you parry, even if I throw the guida, he may have time to adjust and deal with that. So if I push forward, he can deflect and survive the action. So because Monte likes to throw fakes in, he also likes to step back to give time to recognize the attack and deal with it more effectively. Thank you very much, Michael. So for this exercise, we're going to throw guidas into the wind, as Marozzo might have said. So we're going to start in prima. We're going to, first of all, practice the montante, and then we're going to guida. The guida goes to the face of your opponent, and it's extended. I also like, if you look at the footwork here, I'm starting on the yellow line. I'm going to come a little off the line. So their sword goes by, or the line, I'm off the line. So flow into that. Mix up montantes and guidas. And one last thing I'll say before you practice this a lot. At the very beginning, it's good to practice parrying after the guida, which is to say, if I throw this blow, a guida, I change the sword to the other side to cover myself as I come back. So I change the sword and I come back. With a montante, we're just going to cut through. With a guida, cover the other side. Okay, knock some blows into the air. Cool. Good. Good. And again, aim for their face. If you go low, you'll be hit by a blow from above. If you go too high, you'll miss them. So visualize an opponent. If you're facing someone, you can visualize what level their face is at. Nothing personal. So that's coming over. The guida comes from below. So it starts as a, you're starting as a downwards blow, but Monte's starting it as a rising blow. Yes. Yes, more like that. Say so. Nice. And then remember, once you've done the guida, cover yourself. So don't withdraw it, because that makes you weak. Turn it to the edge on. What's going to happen is, slowly do the guida to me. Yeah. Yeah, so, but come forward because you want to hit me. So, I'm here now. So that's why you want to just offset it as you come back. So you strike me here, and then, so but when you strike me, you're turned over, so it's your false edge. And now, I'm hit, I was a moment, but now you want to cover yourself coming back, yes.
Okay, so it
Just turn from, just change the side. That's simple, yep. Right. Remember, we're starting high because we don't want to give it away. We all start from the same place. So, and then don't withdraw because that makes it weak on leverage. Turn it and move yourself back. Yeah. Pretty good. Just as the second guida, let it flow in one action. Yes. Remember, when you've done the guida, cover yourself. Throw the blow, change the side, step back with your whole body, leaving your sword out. Only withdraw the sword when you're out of measure. Cool. Cool. So think head target. They're not all that high. Good. Okay, wave if you have a question. Yep.
I kind of naturally do something wrong, I think. That is to move the position of the...
Let me see. Uh-huh. Your knees twisting. Like, have you done Fiori before? No. Okay, it's very like Fiori Volta Stabile motion. So let me think. I throw that blow. Yeah. Yeah, so the key is I throw the blow, now I change it, but I keep it out. If I withdraw it, I'm giving the measure to come and hit me. So I have to keep it forwards. So I'm not changing that foot. I'm here, now I'm here, now I'm here. Only when I get back do I go back to prima. So just leave that extra footwork out. Throw the blow, change, yes. And keep it extended. Keep it extended is the first principle. So it keeps us safe. If you put your sword on mine, okay, and then the front. So here, so can you resist me? Now move your arms closer to you. Right? So make simple leverage. Keeping it strong keeps you safe. Yo. Yep.
I tend to step out, but I don't think it's a good idea.
So I want to step offline, but forward. And I am turning into my opponent for structure. So it's like, it's kind of 1-2. I don't want to do, that's like, it makes me too predictable. Yeah, and this has to be strong, arm straight, extended to the face, and it's protecting me. And then don't withdraw it, that's dangerous. Just turn it and then withdraw yourself. Okay, folks, I just one detail to add. Would you help me with something? What's your name? Martin, yes. Thank you, Martin. So if Martin's here, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the finish of the action. It's natural to think about the beginning of the action first because we're trying to get the guida right. But also we do not want to lose after we've struck. It could be that we miss. It could be that they're injured and they're angry. It could be a tournament and they afterblow. There's lots of reasons we need to protect ourselves as we withdraw. And a lot of historical sources put emphasis on keeping yourself alive as you retreat. Gigante's rapier does. Monte's two-handed sword does. You see it in the Baïonnaise sources where Mancellino tells us it is more honorable to strike after being struck than to strike first because it shows you have your spirit intact even though you take a blow. So after blows are retained, people. So we need to survive our return from the attack. So we do super slow because neither of us are wearing masks. So this is like matrix slow. So what I want you to do is throw the guida at me. I'm making a parry. In this moment, Martin is safe because I'm committed to not dying. However, in a moment, he's not going to be safe. Now, even if he's hit me, I could still have a moment of revenge in me. So Martin needs to turn the sword to the other side, but not withdraw it, because if he withdraws it, his guard collapses. He needs to keep it extended and turn the true edge on. If you keep it forward, he's strong. So once you keep that position, can you resist my sword now? Okay, now move your hands closer to you. Just withdraw, bend your elbows. Okay, it was bad advice. Right? Thank you for taking it. If you withdraw your hands, you lose your guard. Okay? So it's very important that when we throw the guida, again, Martin, if you throw the guida, and it's parried or not, you expect your opponent is pushing on your sword now. So now you control my sword as you move back, turn the sword to that side. That also works, though there's a more danger on my... So I'd say just turn the edge, keep the strength. So even if I'm pushing forward, you're protected. So it's equally important, the art of defense, fencing, is about not dying. Monte had a 30-year military career in war, not dying. He trained his soldiers not to die, okay? So we have to keep our defense uppermost in our minds. Thank you very much, Martin. Okay. I didn't do a warm-up at the beginning because this workshop starts rather slow and builds up, but just keep your shoulders up, back, and down is a really good exercise to reset your shoulders. When people put mental energy and effort into something, they often raise their shoulders. This disconnects your shoulder from your structure, and you start using these little muscles here, which strains your shoulders. So up, back, down. So let's just do this a few times. If you do that, you gotta set your shoulder where you want to be. So even when we're raising the sword up, shoulders down. When we're extending, shoulders back. You will see people like in boxing and other arts, they'll throw the shoulder forwards. I don't see a problem with that, but keep the shoulder anchored in general, okay? Okay, so for the part 2 of 3, part 2, we're dealing with the basic defenses and offenses from the guards. I'm mentioning defenses first because we want to stay alive, okay? So to demonstrate what we do from prima, who's got a big sword here? It'd be nice to just demonstrate in a larger scale. You have a spadone. What's your name? Sorry? Ludwig. Would you like to help? Oh, grab a mask. Ludwig. This phone is on sound. Okay. Okay, so we're going to look at the basic counters from prima. So I'm facing Ludwig, we're both in prima. So we're going to deal with the rising blow because it's what Monte likes to throw. This counter works the same against the downwards blow. But if you want to give a rising blow, just check the measure is good. If you step forward, can you reach? Yeah, just a little bit closer. Good, and now back out from there. Cool. So what's good about Ludwig's position is I can't strike him without stepping. So this is a good place to launch from. Farther away, no one can reach each other, but don't ever walk into close measure without doing something. So just check that measure again, please. Cool, and you're going to find the armpit is often your prime target for this attack. Perfect, so now I don't want my armpit cut, so he's going to attack again. I'm coming here. So I'm cutting over the sword, I'm cutting past. I'm not aiming at my opponent, and now I'm going to go forwards to keep control. But I need to come here. If I run into the strength of that, Ludwig will show me why that's a really bad idea, okay? So you can't be too keen to point at your opponent. You've got to push out and put the edge in, okay? If you've done rapier, this will be familiar. So let's swap sides and do that again. So Ludwig throws a rising blow. I come back, I control it, I counter, okay? I may or may not reach him with the counter, but now I'm safe. Now I'm attacking. The play is more in my control. However, to get a situation that's more like a fight, Ludwig could either do that. Do you think he could do a guida? Let's just go for guida, where I'm not moving, just to get the range. Cool, and then as you do the guida, when Ludwig comes to about here, you're going to just loosely let your hand come through, and the sword comes up. Yeah. Exactly. And actually, it's better to aim for the face, because it controls my sword better. So if I don't want to be hit by the guida, if I throw the standard defense, I'm dead. Okay? But now, I could afterblow. So Ludwig wants to keep the sword out, but push my sword to the side. Yes, and then retreat at a measure. Perfect. So what we're going to practice is, we're going to practice pretty much everything we've done so far. We're going to practice having good footwork, extending when we attack, but then withdrawing to good measure again. We're going to practice the montante, and we're going to practice the guida. And now we're going to practice parrying. So we're going to play a game. So Ludwig is going to throw 4 blows at me, in very much control, because obviously we're not wearing protection. And I'm going to parry them, but you're going to mix in some guidas and some standard rising blows. Okay? I had to parry wider for the guida. Ah, another guida, sneaky, and he's controlled. He really likes his guidas, I can tell. Thank you. So, to move away from sort of very rote drilling, we want to have 2 things to deal with. One of which is a standard montante to strike. And if you strike that, it can be actually quite strong even when it's parried. Actually, I'm going to throw a montante at you. I would like you to parry it. Just to demonstrate, if you show it with structure, even if you're parried, you can still be safe behind it. So, here we go. Oh, and if they step in, it doesn't actually help them. Thank you for demonstrating. So if Ludwig steps back, he'll be a little bit safer. Now he's stronger, but he tries to hit me. Look, I have structure. And if I keep my fingers away, I don't lose them. So I can keep alive. So it's about extending high out in front of me. If I was here, and then he can follow up with complete control. If I keep my hands high and in front, extended, as Monte tells us, I'm still strong. I can't break through this, but I'm not weak. Does that make sense? Cool. Thank you very much. So for this drill, you will grab a mask. I would like people to change partners every time, because you can get in the habit of just one person's motion. We want to be generally capable. So grab a sword and mask, wave your hand, find a partner, pair up. One person is going to receive. The receiver is going to just counter and work on the follow-up. The attacker is going to throw a mixture of montantes and guidas, and then see how so the person can practice parrying and you can practice attacking. It's a game, but it's a friendly game. It's not a fight. To make the guida work, if you kind of come from the come around the corner, it's harder for him to parry it. It's a different line. Yeah. See, it's a different line, right? That's better. Yeah. Cool. And you survive. Good. Say again?
You did an attack, and I did what you showed me this morning. Which one?
So we stepping back, covering the sword. Okay. It's like a Zornhau if you've done German. Cut the sword, then control the sword.
Going back?
Yeah, go back to stay alive. Yeah. Good. And if he survives, that's okay. If you do your part well, and he does his part well, nobody dies.
Nobody.
Right? Right? They have to make a mistake to die. Yeah. That looked good. It looked like you had control, and you didn't get hit, so that's good. Sometimes, when your opponent attacks, if you feel you have the reach, you could try and just hit them on the head at the same time. But it's usually safer to go for the sword and then attack second. Most important is you have to parry. Yeah. Cool. Cool. So one thing about the guida, you're bringing it up nicely, but you have to come at a different angle.
Okay.
So if you come up this way, it's on the same line, the same blow will parry it. Can I borrow your sword for a moment?
Yep.
Thank you. So if I'm drawing the guida, if I throw the montante, it's kind of in this line, and it gets parried, I'm going straight. If I throw the guida, it's coming from over here.
Okay.
So my elbow is out, and I'm stepping off the line. So there's this whole like step here, come from this, change the angle.
Okay.
And that's how we get around it.
Yes.
It's changing the line.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Cool. Hey folks, stay where you are. But one thing to add, there's just something I see a few times that means I didn't explain things properly. So I'm going to add a detail, okay? And that detail is about the angle we take when we do the guida. Can you help me out? Cool. I'm throwing, so I want you to parry both of these. So first of all, I'm throwing the montante. Okay, he's closed that line. He's super strong. He's got my weak with his strong. I'm in trouble. We can all see this, yes? The guida, I'm coming over here. So if it happens he parries that wide, that's okay. I have another option then. But I need to make a move off the line. I need to not be covered by the same parry. So the first parry comes kind of just kind of on the line. Oh, look, he over-parried because he thought it was a guida. So he kind of overdid that. So if I go straight up the line, that's a good parry. Okay? So I go guida, it comes from another angle, right? I'm coming around. So, because he knows I'm throwing a guida, I overdid it there. But if they're not expecting a guida, let's do it slowly. I want to kind of just step offline and come at an angle here. If I do this, the short edge, this is weird. Short edge will be stronger than the long edge. Doesn't feel like it should, but it will. And there's a tendency for the sword to push increasingly into your strong. It collapses their guard. But you see where my sword is. That's the line. Okay, it's not here. Even the montante comes like probably on the line that's like here. But the guida, it's an angled shot. almost more like the concept of a crumpau. It's not a crumpau, it's a truss, but it's coming offline. And by coming offline, it defeats the line of that parry. So I have to come out, and I'm sliding off that line when I'm throwing the blow. Okay? So if you feel that the guida brings you offline, and then you're extended in structure, that's the feeling we want. Does that make sense? Thank you very much. Okay, more guidas with the offline angle. That's looking good. That's offline, threatening in the face. Yeah. Bellissimo. Yeah, great angle, great angle. Cool. You notice when it's higher, you're stronger. If it's low, the guida is weak counter. Right. But if it's high, even if you don't hit them, you still have defense. Okay. So go for the face. And then part of the game becomes, can I disguise the guida? Okay. The guida, so it becomes a guida a little later. Okay. So you can't tell by the setup, because now people are expecting guidas. So we got like, montanti, 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 guida, haha. Yep.
I don't feel like I'm throwing the guida correctly. I don't feel like I'm in control. So can you just check?
Certainly. That's actually pretty nice and snappy. I'm going to look at it from behind to get the angle. Do it again, please. I think you're doing the guida well. He's anticipating it well, so he's powering it. But you're doing the guida well. So part of this game becomes, can I throw montante, then throw the guida without starting it differently? Okay. It's like, can I start it all the same way and then, yeah? Because I think there's a tendency people do the guida, they go, I'm doing a guida, and they start wider, and you read that and you parry wide. Also, if they parry wide and you do a montante, you can just move your sword a little and take their hands, because their hands will be in your target. If they parry narrow, you'll hit them with the guida, but if you parry wide, you can hit them with the montante. So we're trying to fake them out. Okay? Hey, how's it going?
We were wondering the guida from the left side.
Yeah, it's cool. Actually,
It has to be second.
Monte recommends the guida from the left side, but I didn't show it to you first because it's harder to do. But if I may, I can. So again, let's say I do a montante from, yeah, exactly. So you do that. You come. Make sure you can reach me though. Yeah. So I go to parry, and shit, my parry screwed up. And then exactly. So yeah.
So, but you have to start from the.
No. That gives it away. Like, parry this.
But you're completely exposed, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. But am I more exposed than I was here? No, I'm not. Yeah, it works in the timing of the attack.
You're like this and then.
Yeah. So if you watch this, I'm turning it this way, and my left hand comes up. That brings the sword down. So this is a montante. This is a guida. Right. So the key is how you start the blow.
Okay.
Thanks for the question. Okay, folks, relax, gather in. Okay, so hopefully we're getting a sense of the game. You might find if you throw guidas, people keep parrying them. First of all, people are expecting guidas now, so that's not unusual. The key measure of success is, did I die? Okay, we cannot expect to hit the opponent in the first or second blow. We want to be winning the fight. We want to be putting them under pressure, physical and psychological pressure, so they make a mistake. And we do that by threatening them in unpredictable ways and keeping our guard strong. Also, it's a bit of a game of tricking your opponent. I throw montante. I throw montante. Oh, it's a guida. Can we learn to throw the guida so it starts like a montante, continues like a montante, and then it becomes a guida? There's often a tendency for throwing the guida, we'll start wider because we know we're going there, and our opponent reads that and they parry it every time. If they parry wide and it turns out to be a montante, we can hit their arms. If they parry narrow, it's a guida, we can hit their face. But if they don't know what's coming, it could be montante, it could be guida, and now we have them playing our game. So a lot of it is making sure we start the same way, and you only learn that by practicing and getting a response from your partner. Okay? In the drill, it's not an opponent, it's a partner. You're helping each other learn and get feedback when what you're doing is working, oh, it's credible. Okay? So, what's your name? Nicholas asked me a great question. What about the guida from the left side? The guida from the left side and rising blows from the left side or the offside are actually Monte's favorite blows. He says the primary blows of the sword are 2 rising blows from either side. But he seems to feel that 2 rising blows from the left side are most useful. We're going to spend a moment on this before we look at how to break prima. So we've been defending from prima. It's been pretty good. Even against the guida, it's pretty good. We're going to see how we can mess it up in a moment. But first, we're going to see the other side of the attack. So I'll grab a sword. You have a mask. We'd like to help out. Thank you. What's your name?
Julian.
Julian. Where's he, Julian? Nice to meet you. Okay. So Julian and I are going to look at the attacks from the offside. If you're a lefty, this means attacks from the right. If you're a righty, it means attacks from the left. Who here is left-handed? That's the first time ever. Seriously? You're not just shy. Say again? Okay. You are left-handed, but you fence right hand forward. Okay. Okay, it's actually an advantage to be left-handed in fencing because people aren't used to fighting you. Okay, but whatever works. Yeah, I have one student in Dublin who's left-handed with a long sword, but right-handed with a side sword. So, Okay, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to throw attacks at Julien. So I'm going to start here. Julien's going to be in guard. So here's my attack.
So you're attacking here, okay.
How about that? Okay? I'm starting from the same place, right? If I go, kind of obvious what comes next. I'm starting from prima. Montante. Same drill. Then follow up and keep your advantage and hit me.
I make it like this, or?
That would be weak. Just push through the sword. When you have leverage, push the sword that way. Yeah. Keep it trapped here in the quillen. And just keep your hand that little distance away from the crossguard to be safe.
Okay.
This is safe. Perfect. Let's do that again. Control. See? Same drill, just attack from the other side. Let's do it again. Surprise! Guida from the other side. Okay? So, Guida from the other side, it's the same thing. Okay, works the same. So the tricky bit is starting that. Okay? Thank you very much, Julien. Now let's look at how we start that action. We're in prima. When we do a rising blow from the right, we kind of open our hands and turn the blow, turn the sword true edge to our right. With the left, we turn the sword to our left. So it's free to drop. It's like there's someone sneaking up behind us, and we go, aha. We're cutting behind us to start the action. Cut behind you, extend. Remember, the sword foot is back. If I'm doing it offside, this foot forward, I'm just going to advance this foot with the attack. Okay? If it's a guida, it's the same thing. It starts as montante, and then I pull the pommel in. It's just flick. Flick. Follow the momentum of the sword. The pommel helps. Guida. I'm coming off the line. When I did the guida to the right, off the line to the right. Guida to the left, off to the left. Right? Same thing. What I think people find hard is how to start the blow. So my advice, this is not from Monte. Monte tells us nothing about this. If you come up with something better, let me know. I'll be really happy to hear it. I just start returning. You could fold it down. You don't want to like pause, because now everybody sees what I'm doing. But if you just start the action with the sword and follow through, as a smooth motion, you can come up on the right angle, and then guida. So your next task, we can do this without masks in the air, is to just practice a little bit of reverso montante, back to prima, reverso guida, control to the other side, come back, prima. Okay, same mirror image. Questions? Okay, in the air, go ahead. So we want to start the fall of the sword before we move the sword forwards. So here I am in prima. I'm letting temporancia angle back. It's cutting down behind me before it comes forwards. It's like the arms on a clock. It's going to come up here, but at first it goes down. Actually, from your angle, it goes this way. Does it? Yeah. You know, the clock, it goes all the way around, the hand goes all the way around the clock. So turning it backwards is a way of bringing it forwards. The momentum carries it through. Looking good. This is more effective. It comes on the outside of your opponent if they're right-handed. Good extension. Nice to see that. So that was a horizontal blow. You did kind of level. It's faster but less effective. This is harder to parry because it comes below the hands. The guida comes from below. So we got to start by to drop the point, you raise your pommel. Yes. Then it naturally can come true. Remember, every time you do a guida, cover yourself and come back. Always cover after the guida. That was two motions. That was like flipping over. You want it to come, it's coming up. So it starts with the true edge and then the false edge comes up. It happens down here. So it's low. Bring the pommel hand high. Yes, that's. So we're doing this. This is good. Pull this under your elbow. So this under the elbow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, more like that. Just make sure the point is dropping more so that it comes up with a false edge. It's like a false edge rising cut. Look at it. Yeah. Let me guide this a little. It's too late now because you're twisting. Also, you have to relax. You're relaxing this nicely. You need to relax this too. It has to be like thumb and forefinger. Yeah. Yeah, much better. Now, as this extends. It's going forwards as it happens. And yeah, however, rather than the twisting turn, you kind of want to drop the pommel, push the pommel down, that pushes the point up. So it's almost like a cut to the truss. A guida is a blow that lies between a staccata and a montante. So it's kind of half between a standard truss and a rising blow. So it's a cut that becomes a truss. Think if you're going to cut their arm, if you were closer, that was coming up, would it cut my forearm? So think of. It's the position. Let me show you what I think. Yeah. So I'm here. I'm pulling this hand back towards me. My pommel hand actually comes back to flick this up. Think of flicking with the false edge. And cut this surface. So cut it with the edge on. Better, but more here that you're rising up. Okay, so it's a 45 degrees rising cut. Yes, but don't turn it so much yet. When we go to the truss, we can turn it for safety, but it wants to kind of come up. It's just stronger. It's got structure behind it here. Yeah, that's the feeling. That's it. That's it. It's easier when you focus on a target. Then the body knows what to do. Cool. Give that like 3 more. Cool. Let the point drop more. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 1 more. Oh, I know what it is. I got it. The key thing that will help. Okay. As you're here, bring the pommel up. Bring the pommel up to bring the point down. Yes. Bring the pommel up and then snap it down. Yeah. Okay. It's up then down. It's flicking it. And here it's too late. So it's kind of as it's just coming almost to vertical, we're pulling back. So I think as it's kind of here, that's when I start transforming it into guida. So, yeah. And then work on that feeling, but start the transformation earlier. You're kind of coming to here, and it feels like this arm is stuck against your forearm, here, and now it has to twist. So before that happens, here, when there's freedom, push it through. So here. And also, what will help is you're going to be stepping behind it, and it frees up your movement a lot. Yeah. Yeah. And now, don't think it too much. Work on that feeling. Do like 10 of them, because now you're getting the feeling. Right? Pretty good. The only thing I'd add to that is you've got amazing reach. Let's use that. Let's be out here. Hit them in the face when they can't possibly touch you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting a sense people are getting this. Are we good with this? Okay. This is quite technical. Okay. I find there are two kinds of fencers who come and do Monte workshops. People who have real trouble doing the guida, and people who have trouble not doing the guida. Some people can't do a montante without turning it over, and it takes a lot of work to turn it out of them. Some people cannot get the guida to happen. We want to be adaptable and do both, right? So I don't think one is necessarily harder than the other. Some people just naturally have a feeling for one or the other, but they both can be natural. Okay, so now we want to get into some fighting. So let's see what time we have. Yeah, okay, so we're going to do a drill where I think we demonstrated this already, where we're defending from prima. Right, so I will get a, actually you got a big sword. You want to help me out, Pascal? So now we're going to look at how we break prima. We've been defending from prima. We're going to do two things. We're going to just practice a little defending from rising blows first, from the offside, because we haven't done that yet. So we'll first demonstrate that first bit, and we'll practice it for maybe 10 blows each way, just to make sure it feels right. Because there's a little bit of the hip motion that needs to be paid attention to. Then we'll look at breaking prima. Okay, so first of all, if you want to take a prima position, Pascal, I'm going to do a rising blow. First of all, it's good to try to do it without a reaction from your partner, just to make sure the measure is correct. If I do it from here, like his best action is to do nodding, because I'm out of measure. So I want to make sure I have the measure correctly, and then I can go, whoa. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so now he's doing a counter, right? So again, if, however, he doesn't step back, he's very vulnerable to me faking this into a guida. Thank you for demonstrating that. So now I'd like you to add in the backward step as you parry. Okay. So if it's a montante, he still has he's got better alignment. His strong is more than my weak. It's a more secure parry. And again, if I do the guida, he still has time to adjust. That step back saves your life. If someone throws a feint and comes at you from the other side, there are other feints in Monte's system, so I'm going to do a downwards blow. I'm just going to have you parry this. I'll do it slowly. It's the same counter, right? Let's do it again. If I fake that and he steps in, it's easier for me to exploit that. Even if he parries it, he's probably out of position. He's rushing. My follow-up can be stronger. So the lesson that Monte wants us to learn is he says, move the side that's under attack away. Okay, the side that's under attack is the forward side. If I'm left foot forward, this is what's going to get hit. From right foot forward, this is what's going to get hit. So if you throw your blow at me, yeah, even if I don't parry, I should not be hit. Now, I'm going to be in a stupid position for follow-up, so I do want to parry, but I don't rely on the parry. Come at me again. I step back and I parry, much better. I can do things. Even if he's got sneaky rings on his sword, I can still get around that. Okay? Thank you. So now what we're going to drill is basically just the counters to rising blows from the offside. So I'm going to attack from here. I want you to, actually, yeah, I'll tell you what, if you demonstrate from, can you demonstrate from your offside? So do rising blow from your left. First it'll be ranging to make sure the ranging works. Yep. And advance your front foot. You could advance your back foot, but whatever you do, extend your sword to make sure you reach. So the simplest way of doing this is start in prima and just lunge, essentially. Do an increasing step. Again, check the measure first before I start countering. Okay, guida, right? And again, do that with a montante, just to check. The guida has a slightly shorter range, so it's good to check the range with the montante. So just a straight rising blow without turning it over. Just come at me with the true edge.
True edge.
Yes. A montante is a true edge blow. Yep. Boom. Got me in the armpit. So that's the measure. When we get the measure, then if you do it again, I'm stepping back, but I'm turning my hips the other way. See, it's a different rotation. When I'm doing it against an attack to my left, my hip and my arm work in the same direction. Here, my hip goes left, my arm goes right. I'm twisting, okay? But now I have control. If you can do a montante on me as well, please, from the offside. Same thing. My hips go right, my shoulders go right, my hip goes left. I come back. Okay, so because it's a different motion, it's not as structured, but it is still strong. I just want you to practice that 10 times each to make sure it's working. And when you have a question, let me know and we'll smooth that out, okay? Merci bien, Pascal. Okay. Again, find a new partner for this, if you will, just because it's more interesting to train with someone new. And just do 10 each way. And if there's no problems, great. If there is a problem, let me know.
That parry is very interesting because when we were looking again at Madozzo's salto, the actions he was trying to draw, when we were trying to figure out the actions as a partner draw, that was what we developed from it. Because that was the only thing that made sense against the action and for the follow-up.
Right. But it wasn't explicitly explained at all. No. Right.
But you had to pass back as the opponent was coming forward.
Yep.
And you were expected to parry down, and the only thing that was powerful enough was something like this.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. And it runs counter to people's idea of structure, but it's still got plenty of structure. Oh, yeah. It's just not optimum, but it's the best in the situation.
I think that it's got a very solid structure if you got your weight over the top.
It does. I mean, it's just there's more structure if your hips are supporting your action.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of structure if you have yourself braced anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this is a chingara guard if you're on this side, and
yeah.
if you've got a slight angle to it, then you still got your weight over the top.
Yeah. It's like, if the point's high in your hand, you still have that protection from whatever they're trying to do. And the quillen, that long quillen, locks things in nicely. So. Yeah, cool, interesting talk. Thanks, Jay. That's a really good place to be with the weak on your strong. You just need to keep your fingers just that much farther away, and then it's super secure. Okay. Yeah. Just make sure you have measure. It's possible you're a little bit short, so it's easy for him to parry because it's not quite a measure. So do that measure check before you do the counter. Right. Cool. So you're right-handed. Yeah. So let's do reversals and practice those two. Yeah. Cool. And pause. Just check the, yeah. So you need to be just slightly nearer to start with. You can extend your foot a little bit, but you just want to make sure you can comfortably reach. Yeah. Looking good? Look. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So it feels a little contradictory because you're moving your hips differently, but it's strong. Yeah. You're kind of sitting on it. It's really strong.
Very counterintuitive on the left.
Very, yeah.
It's very similar for the nodation with your curve.
Yeah?
It's very easy.
Oh, even better, yeah.
And the points.
There's Hungarian saber techniques like that where I cut with the saber and flick it around and it goes all the way around.
It's very good. It's very, and
yeah, I feel like it's a very flowing style. So I think a lot of at least Chinese styles seem to have a lot of flow. So I think there might be a similar feeling in that.
And grip, the reverse grip.
So
I see you later.
Yeah. No, interesting to talk about that.
The reverse.
So you're changing your hands?
No, just hands.
Oh, turning over. Yeah. 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 Cool. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that with swords. I will see it better. Okay. So we do montantes, but also guidas. Also guidas from the left.
When I do this.
Then you're doing it well. Yeah, with a guida you just need to go wider. I think you need to read it, because if you parry wide, you get hit by the montante. If you parry narrow, you get hit by the guida. So it becomes reading the attack. Cool, you parried. There's no super invincible technique.
Yeah.
The techniques that really work are often the unexpected ones that are done with good structure. In this drill, you're expecting both, so it's harder to get it through. So success is like, do you do it well? Do you parry well?
Yeah.
If you keep yourself alive even when you parries, you're doing it well. If you parry well, you're doing it well.
Okay. Just really.
Yeah, it's wider, basically.
Instantly, when you step back, you want to go like this.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So it takes training to make yourself do that naturally.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
But amusingly, I think this is basically also applicable for longsword in a way.
Oh, 100%. I do all my longsword fencing based off Monte.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I do a Fiori thing if I find my sword low, but I'm basically fencing Monte. It works fine.
Entertainingly, Wittenwiller is very similar.
Really?
Well, very.
I'm looking forward to that workshop.
Fit in because he does a lot of these like long, wide, circly thingies apparently as well.
That's very Monte. Extremely Monte. Cool. Okay, folks, pause. Okay, gather in. Okay, if you're getting that to work, give me a hand. If it's working okay? Yeah? Some people don't know. Okay, anyone got a question? Anything that's not sure of or it needs some tweaking on that? Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and on your right side, yeah.
Right side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Second?
This way, on the left shoulder. We don't do second. Yeah, so high on the right. We don't do high on the left. I never figured out why. We just don't do this. We do low on the left, high on the right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Fundamental question. Okay, so after the break, we're going to look at how we break prima. And then we're going to look at seconda, what we do from seconda, which is this whole guard we haven't touched yet. But it often is very strong. Seconda is really good against the right-handed fencer. Against the left-handed fencer, you shouldn't do it. A lot of Italian techniques, so I would say the most effective technique in fiore is to come from the offside and take the outside of the sword and hit them. Fiore gives very little time to that because I think it's just so effective. It gives lots of time to when you have a come from the right and you bind, and then there's like 22 plays and there's another 20 plays, because that's more complicated. But if you just hit them out of the way from board suit, boom, come back and hit them. You can do it with one hand. So coming from the outside, coming from outside their onside, coming from your offside is really effective. Monte likes to attack, as we've seen, from the offside a lot. So seconda is a guard where we'll set up on the offside. So we'll do that after the break. But first we'll break prima. How do we mess up this position? Because we can see it's quite good to parry from. What do we do to mess that up? Okay? But first we're going to take another 5-minute water break, relax a little, get something to drink, and come back here soon. Okay, so now we're going to look at how do we mess up prima. So prima is this guard where we're quite protected if we're at good measure. Anyone who comes at us, we have the sword of Damocles over their head. We can cut down from either side. We can also do rising blows from either side. So we're not predictable, and people will often kind of go, okay, I'm going to cover that and come in. But they cover that and high, and you come in with a rising blow, they ain't covered. So we have a lot of flexibility from here. So how do we mess it up? So would you help me out if you have a sword handy? And grab a mask too, please. Okay, so what we're doing here is going to put together a lot of techniques we've been working on in the first two parts of the workshop. So now we're getting tactical. This part of the workshop is now that we understand the fundamentals of moving, cutting, and parrying, how do we assemble these pieces in a complicated puzzle to confuse our opponent and to gain the victory? Not necessarily that complicated, just 1 or 2 moves ahead. So what we're going to look at is prima. So I'm going to throw a blow and you're going to parry it, okay? And you're going to step back to keep yourself safe, because that's what we do in prima, okay? So here we go. Okay. Actually, tell you what, let me get measured, because I think I was probably too far. So don't move, I'm just going to throw reverso. Yeah, just a bit. So now step back and parry this, please. Okay. And then, as ever, when you parry, follow up, because it's good to win. Right? Thank you. What's your name?
Arnaud.
Arnaud. Merci bien, Arnaud. So, encore. So I throw that again. Look familiar? We've seen this before. But now I've feinted a different way before I started the guida. So I throw the reverso, he goes to parry, it's not a reverso. But to make it work, I have to throw the reverso, drop the point, and come back. Okay, so if you want to go to the other side, Arnaud. So here's the reverso, which Arnaud is going to parry. And as he parries, you know, he's cutting over here as we practice, because he has to oppose this. So now I feint, and I come from somewhere else. And I cover myself. Okay, so now we're taking the pieces, we're putting them together in a new way. The difficult thing is to trust the motion to make a big movement when we feel we need to rush. Monte's chief virtue is temperantia. Temperantia is temperance. In English, it means not drinking alcohol to excess, but it means not doing anything to excess. It means being in balance. I call my sword temperantia because it's the cardinal virtue. I need to have enough balance, control, patience, and trust in my system to do something that's kind of a big motion that works better than rushing. So if I do this in slow motion, I throw the blow, I let the tip drop, and I come back. So I need to let the tip drop to give momentum to allow this to happen. If I throw the blow and I just turn it over, it's kind of coming from the same angle. Arnaud is maybe going to parry it. So I throw it, drop it and come up. Okay. Super slow motion, matrix style. Okay, it's a very big motion. Let's do it on the other side again. Throw, drop, guida. Okay. Got a visual? Easier to try that. Merci bien, Arnaud. I'm going to have you do that in the air first, so you're not complicated by an opponent. Remember, when you guida, cover. So the key is we just really initiate the beginning of motion, but without really committing our arm. So now we can raise the pommel to drop the point. Fake. So we fake, start the montante, that becomes a guida. Yeah. So it's kind of turn the hips to fake, start the montante, make it a guida. Yeah. But we don't want to start with a montante because it's too obvious. We want to start with a downwards, faking a downwards reverso fendente, then dropping it into a montante, it becomes a guida. So there's like 3 blows in one here. We just really turn our hips to fake, then drop, then trust. Go. Oh no, even don't move your hands so forward. Just keep your structure. Just turn your hips, then drop it into the cut. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm basically I'm bringing the sword here. I'm going for your head, but I'm not really extending my arms, so I'm not committing the action. Then I'm raising the pommel to make it a rising blow, and I'm pulling the pommel back to make it a guida. So it's like fake, guida. We do the guida the normal way. We throw the guida as a rising blow that becomes a thrust. Yeah. Okay, this will make the most sense when we're doing it with a partner. So let's go to that stage. It's often easier to refine this when you see the results our actions have, and we have a target to visualize. So again, find a new partner, pair up. One person is just going to be parrying from prima. The other is going to be making a mixture of reverso fendentes, reverso downward blows, and reverso guidas. Okay, so someone's going to fake the downward blow and make it a guida, but to keep your opponent honest and to make it work, mostly probably just throw reverso fendentes, and every so often fake guida. Okay.
So if we come from above,
yeah.
It's if it's normal strike, it's left foot forward.
Yes, but we're actually faking a downwards blow here because it's just what people expect more. So give them something easy to understand.
But when you do just the downward throw, left foot forward,
Yeah.
when you go to Guida,
Yeah.
right foot.
Yes, we're going to start it. We might extend this foot a little as we start, but then we go to right foot to reach. Yeah. Yeah, but also just finish, do that again, but pause at the end. So you want to take them in the face. Don't bend that knee more.
Okay.
Make use of your reach. Right. And remember, throw a lot of just reverso, so they have to work on the parry. So we throw a lot of this, a lot of this, a lot of this. Oh look, it's a fake. Because it only works by surprise. So since he knows the drill, we have to just mix it in occasionally.
For the exercise too.
Yeah, yeah, because otherwise, if we can't surprise him, he watched the demonstration. So we have to create a game where he has to learn to tell between the fake and reality. And you've got to work on selling the fake.
Okay.
So it looks convincing.
If you have a parish when you do overhaul,
Yeah.
how can you do to survive? Because if I make
Yeah.
overhaul,
You're in trouble.
yes.
This is one way.
Okay.
And then rotate out. Yeah, for instance, there are ways. It's just about timing and sensitivity. But yeah, generally if you do an overhaul or a fendente, I want to go forward and control that. Yeah, so if I catch you with the parry, you're in trouble.
Okay, yeah.
You maybe survive, but you don't want to be there.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe the enchaînement, the training,
Entraînement.
yes, so one or two overhaul, and after that you make.
Yeah, like basically mostly do reverso fendente, so it's from this side.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because you want my parry to go this way, because I'm less strong parrying this way. And then next time actually that's a different technique. Monte does this.
Yes.
I demonstrated it earlier.
Okay.
But in this case, I'm parry this. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So it's going to be a reverso guida.
Okay.
So it's to get this, because your sword is pushed across, you're not aiming at me, so I have this moment of safety, even though I'm open, you're parrying this.
Okay.
And then I cover it. Yep. So it's basically you're tricking, but you have to feed a lot of actual attacks so that then the trick can work.
Yeah, and survive with the other attacks.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
So if I do the strike from here,
Yep.
and then I drop it here and go guida.
You can, but it's too slow. It's too slow. We keep the guida on the same side. Watch from behind. Yeah. So,
I think you're going the opposite
no,
side.
it would just be too slow.
This, and then
Yeah, yeah. Because it's like, it's this. Yeah. Now, there's other ways to change sides. Like, this is one, when there's a flow. But if we go here, we're committed to that side. So we just change the angle.
okay. I thought I saw you do that. It's drop to the opposite side.
That's the same side there.
If I go here.
What, it depends on the angle you look at. What I'm doing is, see the point? My point's going left. So that's saying reverso.
Okay.
So my hand does come down, but it's the edge that matters.
Okay.
Right? So from this side, it's, yeah. It's here, and then guida. Just pause before you, just set up again, but pause before you begin, okay?
Okay.
Pause, don't react. Can you reach Arnaud with your attack? It's a little short, and I think that's making it easy for him to defend.
Okay.
So just every so often, just if you're not sure, just ask to check the measure. So don't react, check the measure, then go again.
Okay.
Good. That's pretty good. It's actually slightly different, but it's a similar concept. That's what the Germans call the Sturzhau. So it's like changing the angle of the sword as you go. It's a falsa technique. Monte does it too. He doesn't give it a name. But what we're doing is more deceptive. We're throwing this, then we're coming up. So we're going here, and then it becomes a rising blow. So he has to drop the sword low, and then it comes high. By dropping the tip low, it drags his defense down, which makes it weaker when you come back up, because he's dropping his hands. Okay? So it's slower, but it opens him up more.
I guess you have to change guard back.
Yeah, so I'm throwing, and I'm raising the pommel to drop the point, and pulling. We steer with this. Like this, it looks like a gear stick, but it's a steering wheel. So.
Thank you.
That looks smooth. That looks smooth. Did the fake look realistic from your point of view? Did the fake look real?
No, not.
Like
To fake.
yeah.
I know.
So it's just important to throw some attacks like this, and then some like this to mix it up. But to me, that looks sharp and effective. So nice work. When people know the drill, they can parry anyway. So we're testing, can you do it and keep safe in and out? And we're testing, can you recognize the attack and can you stay alive? Because the idea is we do this on an opponent who doesn't expect it. To drill that in entraînement, c'est difficile parce que there's an expectation, you know what's coming. So we have to kind of just mix them in. So it doesn't work as well as in combat, but if we can keep structure, we get the technique to work, we're good. Une question?
Please help us. Yes.
Right.
Saved us.
Right, what's up?
Yeah.
Question?
You're here?
Yep. Nope. That's a Manu Dexter. We're throwing a Manu Sinexter.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Same side. Watch from behind. Okay, I'm facing you. Watch me from behind.
Yeah.
You'll see it better. Okay, so it's parry, right? Parry. So slowly, it's fake, lift the pommel, pull the pommel. Okay, he went a little faster, so, but I throw the blow, I rise the blow, I come over. Okay, so cut, lift, pull.
Do you stay online?
No, you come off the line to get a different angle. So I start on line, and then as I do this, I step around.
Okay.
Yeah, and that gives you better.
So like the regular guida, just that you basically intersperse it
Yeah,
instead of starting from here.
Yeah, I start with a fake from above.
You do that,
Yeah.
and then you drop it.
Precisamente. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Question? Okay.
Just for the last move.
Yep.
I'm not very clear. It's like you go from.
Yep. From the left. That's yeah. It's the pommel steers this. So if I'm facing Cindy, I throw the blow, I raise the pommel, I pull the pommel around. It's all steering with the pommel. So lift, pull. So it stays on the same side. So yeah. Well, not forward, we go backwards because we need space to throw the guida. So throw the blow, flick the blow forward, then, and now we do that. So the key is the pommel has to kind of pull back towards you to start a rising cut. Yeah, and as it starts, now we transition to the guida. C'est ça. Merci. There we go. Jesus, my French is terrible. That make more sense? Yeah. Go. Okay, pause. Let us gather in. Good to roll your shoulders out, shake your arms out. So we're getting in deep into the system now. We understand the fundamentals, but now we're looking how to break the fundamentals. So Monte mentions the two guards in an offhand way. He teaches the levato of the sword, the attacking blows, general principles of fighting, and quite deep into, further in the book, he mentions the levato, he mentions the guards in the second book. And the way he mentions the guards, he says, those who use this guard do this. He doesn't say do this, okay? So we take the guards as guides. There are principles we can read from the guards, but that's not the only way to fight. There's a way of looking at it that there's many more guards in Monte's system. It's just he doesn't label them. When I defend from prima, and if I go to parry the reverso montante, like if I was a Bolognese master, this would be a guard. This is a Bolognese guard. I forget his name, okay? But, you know, so there's all these positions that Monte just doesn't label. But they are useful positions. But there's two guards he actually talks about. And they're the ones we're going to focus on. And by working from these guards, we can learn enough principles of his fight. We can fight from other guards. Or we can fight from whatever position we find ourselves in if we understand the principles. So before I go further, any thoughts on this counter to prima? Anything that was hard, anything you felt made it work better? Any questions? The main thing I think is, I think of the pommel as a steering tool. When I throw this offside blow, I push the pommel forward to get the sword to start a reverso montante, and then I keep pulling the pommel to transition it to a guida. The control is in the pommel. So I'm using so much my offside to... So yeah, I'm working on the hands. If I'm doing a full body, I should not be on the line. I should start here, lean a little off, throw that, and as I come through, we can do the guida with either foot forward. Usually we get more reach by doing it this way, and it's a bit safer. It comes off the line more. Control, come out. But the key is pommel raises, sword drops. Pommel down, sword up. So this is a lot of control here. Right? Let's do all the other guards, which are, of course, this. Okay? Remember the exotic name this guard has? Secunda. Right, okay? Prima, secunda. Monte's easy on guards. What do we do from here? Well, you might guess you're going to attack from the left. And if you guess that, you're right. So there's a bit of footwork involved. Anyone have some energy to help me out? Yep. Awesome. Grab a mask. Okay, so let's say you're in prima, because we're assuming, like, if you watch German fencers, you know, it's vom Tag or Flug all the way. So let's say you're in a prima. I'm here. What are you going to want to do? That's sneaky and nasty. Yeah, you're going to attack me presumably on this side, because if you try and hit me on this side, my sword's guarding my head, right? So it's very easy for me to parry an onside. You want to throw an offside. Okay? Yeah, and get the measure. Okay, so do that again, get the measure. Oh, don't be too close. Just go back to that guard. Yeah, just perfect. Can't reach him without stepping. Not too close. So go again. I have to do two things at once. I have to be very light on my feet. And I wasn't that safe. I could do that more safely. Go again. This is better. This is easy. I want to parry. So let's look at the footwork. Do that again. It's not really great without the sword work. The first bit works. So go again. Sword work, yeah. The first bit's good, but the second bit involves going forwards again. And for that, we need the sword. So the first thing is, don't get hit. So move your right foot back. That's the first bit. Okay, let's put them together. This is the second bit. I'm covering that sword. So if I do it without an attack, just so you can watch my motion, I'm going back. It's immediately springing forward to the side with a cut. I'm going to parry. The first time I went for the head, and it's actually really too dangerous. You really have to be sure you're out of measure. If someone's really cutting short, you can just go for the head. But we really want to parry the sword. So if you come at me, step back, get that line. You see I'm cutting to a position. I'm not trying to knock it down. If your sword drops, I stay here with my hand in front of my belt, point high. So I'm in a safe position. So I just cut to here. Wherever his sword goes, doesn't matter. I stay here. Boom. Extend. Let's change sides. This takes a bit of nimbleness. Balance. That's where you have to be in balance. If you're not in balance on your feet when they throw the cut, you will not do this in time. So, throw the cut. That's ideal, if it happens that way. You should void the cut by just moving the foot back, if you judge the range right. That's the ideal scenario. If they're reaching very close to you, say I'm too near now. So as it comes back and he throws, I might need to put the sword out early, but I'm better if I judge it right. 1, 2. I drop back with the sword where it is, then extend explosively off to the side and cutting with a reverso fendente. Got a picture? Let's make it happen. Thank you very much.
Yep. Is there any preference to foot?
Oh, yeah. Okay, one thing I didn't mention, but I was doing, we would draw this foot that the sword is on. So on the side of the sword. So sword's on my left side, my left foot is withdrawn, my right side is forward. Sword's on my right side, my right foot is forward, is withdrawn. So en seconda, our sword side foot is back. Okay, so that means our left side for everyone here. Okay, thank you for asking. That's it, find a partner, let's go. Cool. And we want to parry in such a way that controls send these swords. So if you're attacking me, I want, because where the sword is, I'd like to come here, just because I just want, like if I go here, I don't have a cover for this. So I might even just not hit directly, Sandy throws a blow, I might come here, and now go there. Okay. I just don't want to be staring into that point, okay?
I was decomposing the words, was backward,
yeah.
step,
yeah.
strike.
Yeah. One thing I'd say, backwards, strike, step. Put them together.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Yeah, looking smooth.
Okay, the movement is this, or it's...
No, it's normally true edge, just because it's easy. So we're here, we're true edges forward.
Yeah.
So it's just very direct, straight out.
Okay.
Yeah. So one thought about the counter strike is it's better to cover the sword. So what's your name again?
Loïc.
So,
Loïc.
Luigi. I was calling you Ludwig,
Yeah,
sorry.
It's okay.
Luigi.
Loïc.
Okay.
It's a difficult name in English.
Right, yeah, no, I'll work on it. So, if Luigi is throwing the blow at me, and I step back, I want to cover that. Close the line. I don't want to hit him where his sword is still facing me. So whatever way Luigi's sword is, come through it. Here, 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 just make sure he can't hit me. It's more important that I cover the sword than I hit him, because I can always hit him then. Just make sure you're closing the line. Okay. Let's see. Yep, very good. By the way, you're dangerously near. If Arnaud can hit you without stepping, you should be a little bit farther back. A little bit farther away. Arnaud could hit you without taking a step.
Yeah.
So be a little bit farther back. Make him work to come closer. Okay.
Non, on était trop près.
Oui.
Je pouvais te toucher sans bouger.
Et aussi, tu es en prima, so le pied droit à reverse. Right? Nice. Super. So, just one thought. That's a good counter, but I think you're speeding up a little on the way back.
Yeah.
Just keep it to the same pace.
Okay.
But then it's good feedback for you to have to cover the sword as you come through. Yeah. And if you throw the blow in a way that closes that line, you're safe. Yeah. So just look for that ideal angle. Yeah. Sit up. Yes, Nicholas? Yeah, because if you come on this side, I'm going to cover you. Try and reach me.
Yeah, and me.
Yeah, well, that's making it easy for me. Some people will do that, but you're better just cutting and keeping the line on me.
In a real fight.
In a real fight, yeah. You want to be there. So then my job, yeah, you're too near. You just want to be ready to attack me again. So here, and then so I need to cover this.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, so my job is to throw the sword in such a way that I'm protecting myself as I yeah.
Step here.
Yeah. So look, yeah, so I'm attacking you, you're doing prima, you're doing seconda. So you go to seconda. Right. So I'm, yeah. And now you have it. Okay, but it's more effective if you wait to throw the sword. So step back first and then come forward at an angle. So just keep in seconda and just step back in seconda. Now come forward. Yeah, but a little better here. Just in case I do that. This is perfect. And if you don't reach me, it doesn't matter. Now you reach me. Okay. Right? Yep.
2 times.
2 times. Yeah. So, yeah, once more. Yes. 2 times.
Okay.
That's it. Yes.
I do need the name though. Again.
Mike.
Mike. Okay, cool. One question. So, if I'm like this,
Yep.
I go back.
Too early. You want to slip the leg with staying guard. If you throw a reverso at me, started prima.
That
Hi.
wasn't really my main question though.
Yeah, but just
So
I stay here.
Yeah.
Then I throw. But I try and cover this.
This answers my question.
Okay.
The leg work.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He was doing step back, step forward.
Yeah, it doesn't work. You need to go on the outside.
Okay.
You're coming behind the cut.
That's what my interpretation originally was.
Cool.
But
yeah, it's hard to keep track of all the details.
So it is step back, jump back.
That's it. Cool. Yeah. I know. Cool. Cool. That's working well, but if she throws a strong cut, it might not work. You might have an opposed bind, which is neutral but not advantageous. So if Veronica is throwing a blow at me, let it by, come back. So I'm only, if I see it's going to hit me, I'll start early. But ideally, I'll let Veronica throw the blow. And actually, if she throws from that side, I can just parry it here and hit her. So you probably want to attack me on this side because it's more open. 1, 2. So again. 1, 2. So it's a 2 tempi action. Good. Again. Nice. And pause. Gather in, folks. So we've only got about 10 minutes left. I hope your energy is still holding in there. I got to say I'm really enjoying this workshop because it's rare. I have time to let people work on the techniques enough that I can see you're getting a good grip on them. We often have to kind of rush a little to get something in an hour and a half or 1 hour 50. So it feels like 3 hours we can actually make some progress. So I hope you feel you're getting a better understanding and it's something you can actually do now. So a few key points about seconda before we break it. First point is it's a due tempi action. It's 2 actions. Ideally, we pass back and then we pass forward with a cut to close the line. If we cut as we pass back, we're likely to get an opposed bind, which will be neutral and no one will be in the advantage. If it turns out we've messed up our distance and they're going to hit us, we need to cut to not die, but it won't be as ideal as if we just step back and then cover. This needs to cover their attack. If they swing all the way down here, it's fine. We can just hit them. But if they're more composed and they cut to here and they're about to trust us, we need to cut through that on our way to attack them. So we cover ourselves. Does that make sense? We're going to wrap up with 2 things. We're going to wrap up with breaking secunda guard, and then we're going to look at how we would extend, how we would come out and attack on the withdrawal as well to finish up. But let's break secunda. Do you want to help out? Thank you. Okay. What's your name?
Matteo.
Matteo. Thanks, Matteo. So Matteo's going to do secunda. I'm going to throw a reverso. He's going to do the technique against me. Here we go. Holy crap. I don't like that. Don't want that to happen. So I'm going to do this again. I'm just going to fake to one side, come across from the other side. Okay. So I'm going to draw his attack. He's going to find the text for this. Against those, one must bring a short blow from the right hand, and the sword should go quickly across with a turn. So we can do it either side. So if I'm here, I throw this, right? And then I draw here. So I'm opposing it. I want to get Matteo to commit to an action, and then I counter the action I've convinced him to do for me. So the classic way is right hand, left hand. Because he's committed his sword, it looks like it should be neutral. He's gone first, I can come above that and get a better bind. If I position my sword better, there's a better bind. Let's do it from the other side. So if I just throw a right-handed blow, he can let it pass, and I'm really weak. I'm weaker than if I throw a left-handed blow. That's why we throw a left-handed blow. So he's ready to do that, but he doesn't get it. He gets something else. Okay? So the way Monte throws this feint is called nodding. He literally says nod to one side. So I don't commit my arms. I take a little step. I kind of keep my arms and connect to my shoulders. I throw my body, and then I change direction. If I actually throw my arms out, it'll be too late, too big a motion to parry. So I'm faking with my upper body. My arm and shoulder structure is intact. I go fake, hit. Even if he in here, he may have parried that, but I'm safe, you know, and I can, you know, do whatever. The key is I need to be ahead. I need to get him to commit to something I want him to do and then counter that thing. Once more, slowly. So it's fake with the right and then reverso fendente to the head. Thank you, Matteo. Okay, let's give that a shot.
I need to engage my whole body for the French.
Yeah, it's kind of more that using body more in your arms. I'm kind of like turning my shoulders, dropping a hip and moving my foot a little, but only this much. Yeah. Just enough he can see this, get concerned, but then I drop into the attack. Yeah. The key is don't put your arms too far forward. Yeah. So it's like the footwork for real attack is big. We go sword, small step, offset. Nice. And every so often, to keep it kind of honest, like do throw committed mandritos to the head every so often, and then fake it other times.
Okay.
Right? Cool. So it works both ways. Also try it when you're faking on the right, committing on the left.
And the other.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to call a halt to the drilling now just so we have time to wrap up and not run over Christoph's schedule, because we're in Switzerland. Things expect to work on time here. I don't know. In Ireland, I could go for another half an hour. In Italy, an hour. Even though this is an Italian source, we're going to be on time. So this is giving you a little sense of how the fight develops now. We have the basic counters, the basic attacks, the tricky attacks to get past the counters, ways of breaking the guards. You can break guards that aren't here and here. You know, you can basically, someone can be here, you can just throw something at them here, come across here. There's a lot of ways of redoubling attacks. If you want to hit, say if you want to hit someone's head, if you just stand forward, Arno, I won't hit you on the head, so you don't need a mask. But if I want to hit Arno on the head, here's how I'm setting it up. If I want to hit Arno on the legs, it looks like this. So that moving the sword in a circle means we can transition from one blow to another. So there's a principle of a short blow is a fake, a long blow is an attack. I want to show one last thing, which is how to defend on the way out. So let's go back to the play. Grab a mask. I'll just demo this quickly. So we're looking at the guida, where I'm going to attack, strike, but then Arno's can come back, try and hit me, and how I can protect myself, and how I can defend myself on the way out. We're not going to drill this. I just want to give you a little sense of what's next. Okay, what else there is in the system. Just a little sense. Okay, so in prima, if I throw a blow here, he parries. Oh, failed. But look, here it comes again, parry it. Oh no, it's a guida. But now I have to stay alive. Arnaud tries to hit me. So I'm going to come up, and as he comes forward, come back at the leading hand again. So just as I attack on the way in, I attack with a guida on the way out. Let's do that once more from the other side. This gives you more the flow of the fight as Monte envisions it. So I throw, probably a fake. Now I throw it again, he thinks he knows what it is. Oh look, it's nothing else. Now he comes to hit me. Get away from the sword, take his hand, it's extended now, come out. So that's more of the flow. To get to that flow, you need to, drill the parts that lead up to it, but hopefully you can see more of the flow. I'm going to take questions over lunch because I don't want to delay lunch, which is happening in 5 minutes. I guess we have 5 minutes for questions. Questions? Can we rest now?
All these moves can be made with a montante. For me, montante is a flow.
Yeah.
And it's a...
Yeah. Yeah, but it's got momentum.
You got 10 minutes.
Okay, great. Okay, it's southern Switzerland. Thank you. I have 10 minutes, so that's cool. So if I'm doing that move in the montante, so I'm going to go fake, guida, return. In some ways it's easier. I mean, it's more frightening from the other side, but it's just like it flows. If we listen to the sword, transition, bring it up. I'm parrying, I bring it up, I'm loading energy. Guida. This is why it becomes important to throw it backwards. We can't just wrist, it's not an épée. We can't wrist move the montante. So we throw the attack, the guida, the cover. By powerfully throwing it back, that's our forward momentum. Yeah, it's the whole hands on the clock thing. Goes around. Okay, good question, thank you. We can sit down. Any other questions? Yep.
Is it possible to learn with only the manual?
To learn?
To learn Monte with.
To learn?
Understand?
Oh, from the book. Yeah, okay, so I've got a translation out on my website. There's something problem with email responder this week, so I'll fix it. But it's just mikeprendergast.ie. You can, if you know my name, put .ie for Ireland on it. You'll find my website. And you get a free version of my draft translation from 2018. What I will say is, I've put together a guide to the Collectanea, which is like a short table of what content is in what chapters. The chapters are very distributed. It starts with a glossary, then it goes into wrestling, then it goes into weapons, then it goes into temperaments, then it goes into the characteristics of people from different provinces, psychology on the temperaments, and there's a lot of different things. And then book 2, it gets back to wrestling, and then the weapons, and then armor, and then jousting, and then vaulting on horseback, which is an exercise they spend a lot of time on. So it's very spread out. But if you just find the bits on how to move in arms, how to move in wrestling, there's about 2 chapters on that, and then there are the chapters on the sword. The first chapter, I think, 21 in book 1 on the sword. If you know where to look, there is stuff there. If you've done this workshop, it will help. I mean, I worked this out by just working through it with my HEMA club, and it wasn't obvious. And I think, it takes working through to make sense of it. So this is my version. There's Roberto Gotti and his club in Brescia in Italy. They have an interpretation. It's almost the same. They have a different interpretation of Guida, for instance. There's there are a few people in the world who are working on Pietro Monte. In Granada, there's Palestra Pietro Monte, where they're working on a system that includes Pietro Monte. It's kind of a general system of writing based a lot on Monte. So everyone's got slightly different interpretation. It all comes from working from the book. So it's not the easiest book to work from, but I think it's worth looking at. So I'll work out a way to send you guys the link. There isn't like a Facebook event for this group or whatever, but I'll figure something out with Christoph. But mikeprendergast.ie. You'll find the translation there at least. And I'll aim to put more stuff up. Okay, long answer to a short question. Okay, what else is on your minds?
I was wondering about the last action you did.
Yep.
Where you go, and he's on the left side.
Yep.
You make a feint
Yep.
on your right.
Yes.
You lay parry, and then you attack on the right.
So I feint on the right, and then I attack on the left.
Yes, but from what you did before, my first instinct was that you would feint on your left and then go with the Gita on your right when he starts.
Totally valid, totally valid.
Oh, okay.
Totally valid. No, it's just, what he said, a remedy against secunda is. He's kind of shown us the Guida before, so I think he's showing us a new thing. There are many ways, like what that technique I showed last, where we attack, we Guida, we cover, we counter, that's also described from the other side as a way of opening up your opponent. So that's one of his piece of advice on how to close on an opponent. So we throw a fake, provoke, we strike, we cover. Monte has a chapter in his book that says, where 2 blows are good, 3 are better. The first blow is the provocation. It's usually short to draw a response. Then the second blow can be a strike. The third blow can be a counter that clears. And that sequence is the 4th blow of the levata. So if we understand the principles, we can make our own techniques. We can use the cuts and guards that we have and flow between them. It's more important to understand the principles. If we understand the principles, we can generate the fight as we go. But by doing the system enough, we kind of get an instinct for what works. This is my thought on it. Cool. Any other thoughts, questions? Did you enjoy the workshop? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Would you like to learn more Monte someday? Now, you could come to me in Ireland, you're very welcome in Dublin. Or you could come to Lucerne next month, because I'm doing a 2-day workshop on Pietro Monte in Lucerne. I think the details are posted on various Swiss HEMA boards. It's the 12th to 13th of April. It's a workshop on teachings of Monte. And the 12th, it's going to be from an afternoon to, it's going to be like 4 hours, 1 o'clock to 1900 on Monte's pole axes. So it's a pole weapon, it's basically all long weapons. And on the Sunday, it's going to be like basically a full day on the two-handed sword. So it's going to include this, but it's going to start with the full levata of the sword. It's going to go this, and it's going to go farther. So if your shoulders and head is up to that, you'd be very welcome. It's been run by, tap. I'm reading it. Yeah, so it's actually in Lucerne. Does anyone know what the group in Lucerne is even called? Because they have this whole event description, and I don't see a group name. But some of you have seen this workshop advertised. I hope. Yeah. So I'll figure out what it is. But I'll try and spread that as well. So, come back to Switzerland. Love to see you. If you think anyone might enjoy it, let them know, because I enjoy teaching this. And I'm around all weekend, so ask me questions. And thank you very much, folks. Thank you. Cheers.